Did you know there's a specific age that acts like an expiration date for Tom Cruise's marriages? Or that the US once turned down a literal army of elephants? Stick around, because today we're diving into 30 mind-blowing facts, including one about a common bird that has built-in earplugs to keep from going deaf from its own voice. Here are 30 incredible facts to make your day. In 1862, the King of Siam sent a letter to Abraham Lincoln offering to send a herd of elephants to the United States. He believed a great nation should have these majestic creatures for work and transport, but Lincoln politely declined, citing the American climate and the use of steam power. If you think the stars are shimmering in the night sky, it's actually an optical illusion caused by Earth's atmosphere. Stars don't really twinkle. They emit a steady beam of light. But as that light passes through different layers of shifting air and temperature, it bends and wobbles before reaching your eyes. In the 1990s, the internet was delivered by mail. At one point, half of all the CDs produced worldwide were actually AOL sign-up disks. The company spent over $300 million to ensure that for a few years, it was nearly impossible to open your mailbox without finding a free trial for the web. Well, we call them nuts. Botanically speaking, peanuts, walnuts, cashews, and pistachios are actually seeds. True nuts are defined as hard-shelled dry fruits with a kernel that doesn't naturally open. Because these popular snacks go differently, they fall into the category of drupes or legumes instead. Most people think of the Sahara Desert as an endless sea of sand dunes, but that's only a small part of the story. In reality, only about 25% of the Sahara is sandy. The rest of the landscape is made up of rocky plateaus, stone-covered plains, salt flats, and even mountain ranges. Bees are much more impressive pilots than we give them credit for. Research has shown that bumblebees can fly at altitudes higher than Mount Everest. Scientists tested them in flight chambers and found they could successfully hover in low-pressure conditions equivalent to 9,100 meters or 30,000 feet above sea level. The human heart is a relentless engine of life. On average, it beats about 100,000 times per day. Over a typical lifetime, that adds up to more than 2.5 billion heartbeats, pumping millions of gallons of blood to every extremity of your body without ever taking a break. Armadillos are essentially the tanks of the animal kingdom. Their skin is covered in bony plates known as ossiderms, which create a protective suit of armor. This shell is so incredibly tough, there have been documented cases of bullets ricocheting off the animal's back. In 2015, the Royal Canadian Mint produced a special silver coin featuring Superman flying on the tail side. While it's a collector's item, it's actually legal tender in Canada. Only 350,000 of these Men of Steel coins were ever minted, making them a rare find for any superhero fan. The man who invented pop-up advertisements, Ethan Zuckerman, has publicly apologized for his creation. He originally wrote the code for a car company that didn't want its ad associated with a specific web page, but he now deeply regrets the pop-up chaos he unleashed on the internet. The original purpose of a roller coaster had nothing to do with thrills. It was built for coal. In the 1800s, the Mach-Chunk Switchback Railway was used to transport fuel down a mountain. Once people realized it could hit 80 kilometers or 50 miles per hour, they started paying 5 cents just to ride it for fun. Humanity has been rolling along for a very long time. The world's oldest wooden wheel was discovered in the Ljubljana marshes of Slovenia and has been dated to be over 5,000 years old. This incredible relic from the Copper Age proves that our ancestors were master craftsmen long before the rise of many modern civilizations. In France, if you go to the supermarket to buy toilet paper, you might be surprised by the color. The vast majority of toilet paper sold for home use in France is bright pink. This trend started in the 1960s and became so culturally ingrained that it remains the regional preference today. In 1960, A bizarre piece of international history occurred when a cow in Cuba was reportedly killed by a falling chunk of US satellite. The incident caused a minor diplomatic stir, leading to protests and a very unusual insurance claim for the world's first space related livestock casualty. The Georgian language has a specific word for a feeling we've all had: chimimakama. It translates roughly to "I accidentally ate the whole thing." It's used when a meal is so delicious that you keep eating long after you're full, finishing the entire plate without meaning to. If you have a dog, you know that those puppy dog eyes are hard to resist. Scientists discovered that as dogs were domesticated, they evolved specific muscles around their eyes to mimic human like expressions. This allows them to look cuter and communicate better with their human companions. The world's most expensive hot dog isn't found at a ball game. It's the Juanibon in Seattle, costing $169. It features smoked bratwurst, wagyu beef, foie gras, and shaved black truffles. It holds the Guinness World Record for the most expensive commercially available hot dog. Roosters are incredibly loud, but they don't deafen themselves when they crow. They have built-in earplugs. When a rooster opens its beak to fully crow, a fold of soft tissue covers half of its eardrum. This acts as a natural noise-canceling muff to protect its sensitive hearing from the blast. Home Alone is one of the most successful comedies ever, but it almost didn't happen. Warner Brothers originally shut down the production because they didn't want to pay the $14 million budget. 21st Century Fox stepped in, and the movie went on to gross over $476 million. Smoke alarms usually rely on sound, which isn't helpful for everyone. To solve this, there are specialized smoke alarms designed for the deaf and hard of hearing. These systems use high-intensity strobe lights and powerful bed shakers to alert residents to a fire while they are sleeping. Oak trees are absolute powerhouses of reproduction. During its average lifetime, a single oak tree can produce approximately 10 million acorns. However, only a tiny fraction of those, roughly 1 in 10,000, will ever actually grow into a new oak tree. Marmite is so beloved in the UK that it became a security issue. It was frequently confiscated at airport security because the jars exceeded liquid limits. To keep fans happy, the company eventually created travel-sized jars specifically designed to pass through airport checkpoints. In a show of extreme commitment to a joke, the creators of Cards Against Humanity once bought an island in Maine. Their goal was to preserve the wildlife and keep the land pristine. They officially named the private island Hawaii too, and even sent licenses to their fans. Termite queens are the marathon runners of the insect world. While most insects live for just a few weeks or months, a queen termite can live up to 50 years. This makes her one of the longest living insects on the planet. For those who love tiny literature, there is a Guinness World Record for the largest collection of miniature books. To qualify, the books must be no larger than 3 inches in height, width, or thickness. Collectors often have thousands of these palm-sized masterpieces in their libraries. Americans throw away a staggering amount of money in the trash every year, literally. Over $700 million worth of aluminum cans are discarded annually instead of being recycled. Since aluminum is infinitely recyclable, this represents a massive loss of both money and natural resources. Speed is the name of the game for professional baristas. The world record for the most cappuccinos made in a single hour is 420. That means the barista had to maintain a pace of 7 completed drinks every single minute for 60 minutes straight to claim the title. Centuries ago, people in Europe genuinely believed in the vegetable lamb of Tartary. They thought certain trees grew actual lambs as their fruit. The lambs were supposedly connected to the tree by an umbilical cord and would graze on the grass around the trunk before falling off. Grand Theft Auto V is one of the most expensive pieces of media ever created. It cost a staggering $265 million to develop and market. However, The investment paid off instantly. The game made over $800 million in its first 24 hours, and has since earned billions. Tom Cruise has a bizarre pattern in his dating history. He has divorced 3 different wives, Mimi Rogers, Nicole Kidman, and Katie Holmes, and in every single case, the marriage ended exactly when the wife was 33. Furthermore, each wife was exactly 11 years younger than the one before her. Which of these facts did you find the most unbelievable? I was surprised by the Tom Cruise one myself. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons as it really helps the channel out. Let me know in the comments if you've ever accidentally eaten the whole thing like the Georgians say. Until next time, thanks for watching and you have a great day!